I died on a rainy Tuesday in Palo Alto. My fingers still sticky from the last takeout burrito I'd scarfed down in a desperate bid to code through the night. The outage hit at 2:17 a.m., $400K down the drain in lost revenue. Servers choking on a rogue commit that I'd supposedly authored.
But it wasn't me.
It was Jake, my so-called mentor, the golden boy of Apex Dynamics, slipping in that backdoor script like a knife in the ribs. He framed me to climb the ladder, and I took the fall, fired in a boardroom ambush, blackballed from every tech firm west of the Rockies. The pills came later. A quiet exit in my cramped studio apartment, the kind of end that Silicon Valley whispers about but never admits. Waking up wasn't peace.
It was a glitch.
My eyes snapped open to the hum of my ancient Dell laptop, the one I'd upgraded with salvaged RAM from the office trash. The date on the screen, October 15th, 2023. 3 months before the outage. My heart slammed against my ribs like a DDoS attack. I was back, trapped in my 28-year-old body. The one with the chipped front tooth from that college kegger and the tattoo of a binary heart on my wrist that now felt like a cruel joke.
重sinh.
They call it in those Vietnamese webtoons I binged during all-nighters. Reborn. But this wasn't some feel-good reset. This was a second chance at war. I bolted upright, knocking over my half-empty Red Bull. The apartment smelled like stale ramen and unwashed ambition, just like before. My phone buzzed, a text from Jake. Hey Amaya. Killer pull request on the auth module. Beers after stand-up. My stomach twisted. That casual charm. The easy smile that hid the serpent. In my first life, I'd trusted him. Mentored under his wing at Apex, the hottest fintech startup turning San Francisco into its playground. We were the dream team, me, the prodigy from a nowhere town in Ohio, bootstrapping my way through Stanford on scholarships and spite. Him, the Ivy League slickster with connections that greased every deal. But trust is a bug in the system, exploitable and fatal. I'd uncovered it too late last time. Jake's side hustle, siphoning user data to a shady offshore broker for crypto kickbacks. When I confronted him, he didn't deny it. He just laughed, low and mean, and said, "Ambition's a bitch.
Kid.
You want to play in the big leagues, or you want to code for cat videos." Then the commit. He overwrote my branch with his malware, timestamped it to my GitHub, and watched me burn. The crisis call exploded during the all-hands. Amaya's fuck-up cost us $400K. Screenshot evidence sealed it, a damning commit log with my handle. I was the scapegoat, the diversity hire gone wrong. HR escorted me out like toxic waste.
Now.
Staring at that innocent text, rage boiled up like an unchecked loop. I wasn't going to debug this quietly.
No.
This time I'd rewrite the narrative. Apex was my coliseum, and Jake was the lion I'd feed to the crowd. But revenge in tech isn't a Molotov cocktail. It's surgical, viral, and leaves no fingerprints. First, I needed proof. Real proof. Not the whispers I'd ignored before. I cracked my knuckles and fired up the terminal. My fingers flew, git clone. Branch analysis. Pulling the repo from Apex's internal mirror I'd accidentally cached last time. There it was, buried in the history, Jake's fork, dormant but laced with anomalies. A subtle injection point in the payment gateway, designed to skim fractions of cents on high-volume trades. Genius. Really? If you ignored the felonies. But I had 3 months. Enough time to map his web, thread my own traps, Stand-up the next morning was a farce of forced enthusiasm. The conference room overlooked the bay, fog rolling in like a bad omen. Our scrum master, Priya, droned about velocity metrics while I nursed a lukewarm coffee, eyes locked on Jake across the table. He looked the same, tousled blonde hair, that Patagonia vest over a band tee, exuding the effortless cool of someone born with a silver server rack. Amaya. Thoughts on the Othra factor? He prompted. All mentor vibes. I smiled, thin and sharp. It's solid.
Jake.
But I spotted a potential vuln in the token refresh race condition that could expose sessions. We should audit the commits from last sprint. His eyes flickered. Just a microsecond. But I caught it. The hook was set. Lunch was tacos from the truck parked outside. Al pastor for me. Extra pineapple to cut the spice of my simmering plot. I sat alone on a bench, scrolling X, formerly Twitter, because Elon couldn't leave well enough alone for dirt. Apex was buzzing. Venture capital rumors. A big Series C on the horizon. Jake's posts were a highlight reel, keynotes at TechCrunch Disrupt. Yacht pics from Miami. Hustle culture at its finest.
But I knew the underbelly.
Late-night DMs I'd screenshotted in my first life. Confessions half-typed and deleted. He wasn't just skimming, he was laundering through NFT drops, the digital equivalent of a money pit. Back at my desk, the open-plan floor thrummed with the clack of mechanical keyboards and the hiss of espresso machines. My station was a fortress of dual monitors. Sticky notes charting my revenge roadmap. Step 1. Infiltrate his workflow. I forked his personal repo, public on GitHub. A passion project for decentralized finance that reeked of his side gig. A quick grep revealed the tells. Obfuscated calls to a Cayman Islands API. Timestamps syncing with Apex's trade logs. By evening, I drafted an anonymous tip to the company's security team, routed through a Tor proxy. Nothing explosive, just enough to flag Jake's branch for review. Potential integrity breach, I labeled it, attaching a sanitized snippet. Sleep came fitful. Dreams of code compiling into nooses. Week 2 blurred into a grind of feigned normalcy. Jake invited me to code reviews, probing for weaknesses. You're killing it, Maya, he'd say, using that nickname like a pat on the head. I played along, dropping breadcrumbs, offhand mentions of weird logs in the gateway, questions about his consulting gigs. He deflected with bro talk, but sweat beaded on his forehead during our one-on-ones. The first crack appeared on a Friday. Priya pulled me into a side room, her bindi catching the fluorescent light. Amaya, we got an audit hit on the payment module. Some anonymous flag points to Jake's contributions. Her voice was neutral, but her eyes searched mine. Apex thrived on loyalty, snitches got servers. I feigned surprise. Whoa, really? That's wild. He's been mentoring me hard, hope it's just a false positive. Inside, triumph sparked. But controversy brewed. Whispers spread. Was Jake dirty? Or was this sabotage from a rival firm? The office divided, his bros circled wagons, calling it a witch hunt. The underdogs, like me and the QA interns, smelled blood. My decision came that night, staring at the Golden Gate from my fire escape.
Leak it?
Go nuclear with a Medium post?
No.
Too messy. I needed intimate. Personal. I messaged Jake. Heard about the audit. Beers to brainstorm.
He bit.
Suggesting the Riptide. A dive bar in the Mission with sticky floors and $5 IPAs. The place reeked of fry oil and regret. Jake arrived late. Tie loosened. That grin plastered on. Maya.
Babe.
This audit shit's bogus. Some intern's prank. Probably. We clinked glasses, and I steered us to tech talk, blockchain, scalability, the future. Then, casual as a weather report, ever think about side hustles? Like, real money outside the grind. His laugh was too loud. All the time. But Apex keeps us honest. Right?
Lies.
I pressed, sharing a hypothetical about data leaks I'd read on Hacker News. His eyes darted to his phone, then back. Hypotheticals are dangerous.
Maya.
Stick to the code. By last call, I'd planted the seed, doubt. He walked me to my Uber, hand lingering on my shoulder. You're special.
Kid.
Don't fuck it up. The words echoed my first death. I nodded, while rising, and plodded deeper. As November chilled the bay, my web tightened. I'd mirrored his cloud drive, phishing link disguised as a shared doc on mentor feedback. Jackpot. Spreadsheets of skimmed funds. $2.30 mil funneled to a shell corp. His emails to a consultant named Victor, Russian accent implied, discussing expansions. The betrayal cut fresh, not just greed, but a syndicate. Apex wasn't collateral, it was the vault. But secrets breed their own. In cloning his repo, I unearthed mine, a forgotten commit from my early days. A sloppy hash that could have exposed user SSNs. I'd buried it, chalked it up to newbie jitters. Jake knew. He'd used it as leverage, whispering threats in my ear during that final confrontation. We all got skeletons. Maya. Guilt gnawed, but rage armored it. This wasn't absolution, it was armistice. I drafted the payload, a script to simulate the outage, but pinned to his handle. Not destruction, exposure. Run it during the next all-hands demo, when VCs swarmed. The crisis call would explode. Screenshot viral. His empire crumbling in real time. December loomed. Holidays a mocking backdrop. Office party at a rooftop lounge. String lights twinkling over the skyline. Jake cornered me by the bar. Eggnog breath hot. Heard you're tight with Priya now. Spilling secrets. Paranoia sharpened his edges. I sipped my drink.
Steady.
Just climbing a ladder.
Jake.
Like you taught. His grip tightened on my arm, brief. Bruising, then released with a chuckle. Good girl. That night. Alone. I hit execute on the prep, staging the commit in a shadow branch, timing it for precision. But doubt crept in. Was this justice or madness? Exposing him meant dragging Apex down. Jobs lost. Dreams shattered. Controversial? Hell yes. The tech world thrived on fragile trust. One leak. And the dominoes fell. Friends like Priya caught in the crossfire. My old self would have backed off. Coded ethically into obscurity.
Fuck that.
I was reborn for this. The weeks before the demo blurred into a high-wire act. Every coffee break, a potential slip. Every Slack, ping a landmine. Apex buzzed with pre-holiday frenzy, engineers chaining energy drinks, designers mocking up pitch decks that promised the moon. I was the ghost in the machine, smiling through retrospectives while my shadow self compiled alibis. Jake grew twitchy. His stand-up updates clipped, eyes scanning the room like a firewall on alert. He'd started auditing my code personally, nitpicking whitespace as if it hid nukes. Tighten this loop.
Maya.
Can't have loose ends. Loose ends. The irony burned. I'd tied mine into a noose for him last time. Now, I'd loop it around his neck. My apartment became command central. Whiteboards scrawled with timelines. Post-its mapping his routines. Gym at Equinox at 6 a.m. Spin class Tuesdays. Networking dinners with VCs that stretched till midnight. I tailed him once, blending into the Castro's neon haze. Watching him slip into a dimly lit lounge with a woman who wasn't his fiancée. Lips brushing her ear over martinis. Leverage, but cheap. I wanted systemic. The secret gnawed deeper. That old commit of mine, it wasn't just sloppy, it was the seed of my downfall. In my first life, post-firing, I'd pieced it together. Jake had discovered it during onboarding. Held it like a guillotine. When I sniffed his scheme, he countered with blackmail. Fix my tracks, or your little oopsie goes public. Felony territory. Kid. I'd complied at first, tweaking logs in panic. But he double-crossed.
Framing me anyway.
The pills weren't just despair, they were defeat. Reborn. I owned it. No more victim code. I patched the vuln retroactively, submitting a proactive security update that Priya praised in all-caps Slack. A Maya for the win. This saves our asses. Jake's congrats emoji hid gritted teeth. I saw it in the way he refreshed the repo tab obsessively. Controversy simmered in the break room. Rumors of the audit leaked. Anonymous X threads speculating insider sabotage at Apex. TechTreach trending locally. Jake's bros rallied, posting memes about woke witch hunts, painting him as the martyr. The women on the team, quieter voices, traded glances with me. If it's true, good riddance. Division cracked the facade, turning water cooler chats into ideological minefields. Was loyalty to the company or the truth? In Silicon Valley, where NDAs chained tongues, speaking up was career suicide. My controversial pivot hit mid-December. I'd cultivated an ally, Ravi, the sysadmin with a grudge against Jake for stealing credit on a migration project. Over late-night burritos in his cluttered van, he lived in it to afford rent. I floated the bait. Hypothetically, if someone had proof of malfeasance, how'd you route it without blowback? Ravi's eyes lit, Coke bottle glasses fogging. Hypothetically, I'd mirror the logs to a burner AWS instance, timestamp everything, then drop it during peak load. But that's black hat shit. Amaya. You sure? Not sure, certain. We collabed in shadows. He granted me elevated access under the guise of stress testing while I wove the script. It wasn't malware. It was poetry, a self-replicating audit trail that would replay Jake's skim in miniature during the demo. Flagging transactions in real time. $400 simulated. Enough to trigger alarms without real damage. The screenshot? Auto-generated. Watermarked with his commit hash. Viral gold. But ethics clawed. This wasn't whistleblowing, it was warfare. Innocence would collateral layoffs. Stock plummets. Priya's promotion derailed. And me, exposed as the architect. I'd burn too. Yet the memory of that boardroom, faces I'd trusted twisting into judgment, fueled me. Betrayal's sting demanded reciprocity. Christmas Eve. Apex threw a half-hearted bash in the lobby, twinkling LEDs on succulents. Spiked cider from a keg. Jake was 3 sheets in. Arm around his fiancée. Lauren, a lithe marketing exec with influencer vibes. She eyed me warily. Last life. She'd ghosted post-scandal. Blocking my Insta, like I was the villain. Maya, join us for New Year's, she trilled, all teeth. Wouldn't miss it, I lied, clinking her glass. Jake pulled me aside later. Breath boozy. This audit noise, it's you? Isn't it? Stirring shit for a bump. I met his gaze. Unflinching. Paranoid much? Or guilty? The word hung. Electric. He flushed, glancing at Lauren. Watch your step, Maya. Bridges burn easy. The threat landed, but I was already across the chasm. That night, in the glow of my laptop, I finalized the trigger. A cron job synced to the demo's start time, January 10th. All hands in the auditorium. VCs in the front row. Live stream to the board. Boom. New Year's dawned hungover and resolute. Fireworks cracked over the bay as I jogged the Embarcadero, pounding pavement to purge doubts. Jake's texts ramped up, invites to clear the air, laced with urgency. I dodged, citing family stuff, mom in Ohio, oblivious to my digital Armageddon. Instead, I prepped contingencies, escape pod resume updated, freelance gigs lined up, a one-way ticket to Austin if it went tits up. The Office returned January 2nd, a zombie shuffle of resolutions and regrets. Priya cornered me in the kitchenette. Maya, level with me, the audit. If you know something. Her voice trailed, hopeful. I hesitated, the weight of secrets crushing. Tell her, pull her in, make it a team takedown? Controversial as hell, turning a solo vendetta into mutiny. It's bigger than one bad apple, I said finally. But trust me,
It'll break right.
she nodded.
Fierce.
We're with you. Quietly. Allies. The shift thrilled and terrified. No more lone wolf, now a pack, albeit whisper-thin. As demo day neared, tension coiled like overclocked RAM. Jake vanished for meetings, his desk a ghost town of energy drink cans. I caught him in the server room once, hunched over a console, fingers blurring. Eavesdropping through the vent. Victor. Delay the pull. Heat's on. Russian ties confirmed. My script adapted. Now it pinged an Interpol-friendly honeypot, logging his calls. The night before, insomnia gripped. I paced my apartment, replaying deaths, the pills dissolving bitter on my tongue. The outages red alerts screaming my name. Reborn. But scarred, nightmares of code compiling into coffins. Was revenge rebirth or recursion? A loop I'd never escape? Dawn broke gray. I dressed sharp, black blouse, jeans, hair in a power ponytail. The auditorium thrummed, 200 souls. Catered breakfast. Buzz of opportunity. Jake took the stage first, charming the VCs with slides on seamless scalability. Then my module, the gateway demo, live trades funneling through.
Priya nudged me.
Your baby.
Knocking dead.
Heart hammering. I approached the podium. Jake's eyes bored in. A predator sensing trap. Amaya's leading the auth showcase, he announced. Voice oily. Fingers on the keyboard. I initiated. The script hummed. Invisible. First trade, clean. Second, a blip. Alarms whispered, $50 simulated skim detected. Jake's smile faltered. Minor glitch. Then the flood. Screen exploded in logs. Commits unspooling. His hash glowing crimson. The screenshot materialized, Jake Harlan, author of Breach Commit 47B, timestamped. Irrefutable. Crisis call erupted from the back. Holy shit. It's him. The outage architect. Gasps rippled. VCs shifted. Phones out. Jake lunged for the kill switch. But Ravi's lockdown held. Doors metaphorically bolted. What the fuck, he snarled, whirling on me. I stood tall. Mike live. Not a glitch.
Jake.
A reveal. You've been bleeding this company dry. Schemes. Shells. The works. And last time?
You pinned your mess on me.
Cost me everything. The room detonated. Shouts. Flashes from recording phones. Priya's hand on my shoulder.
Steady.
Lauren fled. Tears streaking. Security swarmed as Jake spat. You psycho bitch. This is defamation. But the evidence scrolled. Emails. Transfers. My old Vaughn twisted into his noose. Twist hit like a server crash. I'd woven in my confession too. And yeah, I buried a bug once. Rookie mistake. But you weaponized it. We're both flawed. But only one's a thief. Controversy peaked. Was I hero or hacker? X lit up. Apex Betrayal trending. Debates raging on ethics versus vigilantism. Cops arrived mid-chaos. Cuffs glinting under stage lights. As they dragged him out, Jake's eyes met mine, pure venom. You'll regret this.
Maya.
Everyone breaks. I didn't flinch. Reborn meant unbreakable. The fallout hit like a kernel panic, total system freeze. Then frantic reboot. By noon, Apex's HQ was a circus. FBI suits in the lobby, lawyers barking into Bluetooths, employees glued to laptops live tweeting the apocalypse. Apex Betrayal exploded across X, memes morphing Jake from tech bro to Bond villain overnight. Commit to the bit, one quipped. Screenshot of his mugshot, perp-side chic, disheveled vest. 1,000-yard stare, going viral with 500K likes. Pundits piled on, CNBC calling it Silicon Valley's Enron moment, podcasters dissecting my rogue justice as either badass or borderline cybercrime.
Me?
I was in a glass-walled conference room. Priya's arm around me like a firewall. You did it. Amaya. Holy shit. Her pride warred with worry. The board loomed. Deciding fates. I'd cross lines. Unauthorized access. Simulated breach. Controversial didn't cover it. This was lawsuit bait. Ethics board fodder. In the land of the free, whistleblowers got parades or prisons. Interrogation came gentle at first, SEC reps. Not cuffs. MS. Rivera. Walk us through the script. I did. Voice steady. The mirroring. The staging. The moral calculus. He killed my career. Almost my life. This wasn't hacktivism, it was survival. They nodded. Scribbling. But the subtext screamed, vigilante much? Outside. The world warped. My phone, 50 missed calls from Mom. Amaya?
CNN?
Call me. Recruiters sliding into DMs, bold move. Coffee. And hate. Trolls doxing my old Ohio address. Calling me diversity disaster for toppling the white boy. Betrayal's echo, societies. Not just Jake's. Tech worship disruption. But only on their terms. My truth? Messy. Female. Brown, easy to spin villainous. Night fell. HQ a skeleton crew. I slipped out a side door. Fog swallowing me whole. The drive home wound through the Presidio. City lights blurring into code. Doubt crashed in waves. Had I fixed the bug or forked the beast? Jake's syndicate, Victor and cronies still loose. Threads dangling. And my confession? Out there now. A scarlet letter in the commit log. Recruiters might balk, scars don't compile clean. But glimmers pierced. Priya texted, board spinning it positive, you're the hero who saved the IPO. Promotion incoming. Ravi, drinks on me. Weary wrote history. Even Lauren DM'd. Terse, knew he was slime. Thanks for her. Sleep evaded till 3 a.m. Dreams splicing code with coffins. Reborn. But raw, the weight of 2 lives pressing. Dawn brought clarity. This was an endgame. Revenge was the patch, not the upgrade. January thawed into February. Apex a phoenix mid-rebuild. Jake's arraignment dominated headlines. Wire fraud. Data theft. The works. His bail? Denied. Flight risk to undisclosed assets. Victor? Interpol's problem. But my honeypot fed them crumbs. The company purged. C-suite exodus. Me interim lead on security. Controversial perk. I pushed for transparency audits. Open sourcing vuln disclosures. No more buried commits, I told the new CEO. A no-nonsense ex-Google exec named Elena. She eyed me appraisingly. Risky. But smart. You're the face now. The face. Fame's double edge. TEDx invites. Wired profile, the woman who hacked her own betrayal. But shadows lingered, threats in my inbox. Jake's lawyer subpoenaing my illegal script. Court dates loomed. A gauntlet of depositions where I defend the indefensible, ends justifying means. Twist struck in March. A gut punch email from an anonymous Apex alum. Your old vuln? Not yours. Jake planted it, early access hack during onboarding. Check the metadata. Heart racing. I dove in. There, timestamps fudged. IP tracing to his workstation. The bastard hadn't just exploited my mistake, he'd authored it. A Trojan to discredit me from day one. Deeper betrayal, he'd groomed my fall before we shook hands. Rage reignited, but tempered. No more loops, time for legacy. I testified in April. Packed courtroom smelling of stale coffee and schadenfreude. Jake glared from the dock, gaunt and unbowed. She's lying, he spat during cross. But the evidence avalanche buried him, my script validated, his forgeries exposed. Jury deliberated 2 hours, guilty on all counts. 20 years. Minimum. Outside. Press swarmed. I pushed through. Priya shielding. Amaya. Regrets? A reporter yelled. Only that I waited a lifetime, I shot back. Flashbulbs popped like fireworks. Summer bloomed. Apex stabilized, rebranded as Apex Integrity. My keynote at their relaunch, drawing 1,000. I spoke on trust. Code's only as strong as the hands that write it. Betrayal's the ultimate exploit. Patch it early, or pay forever. Applause thundered. In the wings, Mom teared up. Her first flight from Ohio. But rebirth's cost lingered. Nightmares faded. But paranoia pinged. Burner phones for dates. VPNs on autopilot. I dated tentatively. A barista named Theo. All tattoos and easy laughs. You're intense, he said over mission talk area. Good intense. Vulnerability scared me. Trust a flagged variable. Yet, in quiet moments, coding side projects for ethical AI, I felt it. Peace. Compiling clean. Fall brought closure. Jake's appeal tanked, from prison. He sent a letter, scrawled, Unhinged. You think you won? I built you.
Maya.
Without me, you're nothing. I burned it on my balcony, ashes scattering to the bay winds. By December, 2 years post-reset, I stood at that same Embarcadero rail, fog lifting to reveal the bridge's span. Apex thrived. I jumped to a nonprofit, auditing startups for equity. Priya co-founded with me, Ravi, our CTO. Controversial? We'd trademarked it. Commit to truth. No perfect endings in code. Bugs lurk eternal. But I debugged the worst, my own silence. Reborn wasn't erasure. It was evolution. And in America's grind, where dreams outage daily, that was victory enough. As fireworks cracked for the new year, not the death kind, but defiant, I whispered to the ghosts, debug complete. Systems stable.